What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about my top 10 games of all time. Now I saw a series on Happy Console Game and I thought that looks like a load of fun. I could easily do something like that. Maybe I should do that and get some of my friends in. I am going to do this, but it was a lot harder than I expected. I started looking at all the games that I played back in the day, going through all the consoles that I've owned, writing down all the decent games, all the games that came to mind, all the games that were memorable, had nostalgia attached to them and were pretty awesome at the time. And it was tough. It was tough. This morning I had 40 games and I was still really struggling. I've managed to get them down to 10 and we'll talk about those all now. I want to start off with Aladdin, but I want to tell you a little bit of a story about this. So, 1993, I came into the Megadrive era a little bit late. I had a Game Gear and Master System prior to that. My dad bought me a Megadrive 2 for Christmas. It came in the post. Now, it came in the post with the Aladdin pack and something else that I want to show you. I had a bunch of other presents that year, but one of the other presents I got was this. Now, I've still got this. Now, let me show you this up to the camera. This is a little plant that my dad picked up on business in Egypt, and it's like a tumbleweed. Now, this plant is magical. I do not know how it's still alive. The thing's been in my cupboard. It survived me being a teenager. And it's still there, and it still works. And I'll show you at the end of the video what it looks like. So essentially, you put some water on this thing, and it comes back to life. No matter how many years you've left it in a dark cupboard, it is miraculous. So I'll put a bit of water on that. I'll show you some footage towards the end of the video, because it's actually quite interesting. Anyway, I digress a little bit. First system I got was the Megadrive 2. I got the Aladdin bundled in with that. That game was awesome. That was my first foray into proper home console gaming. I did say I had the Master System beforehand, but I only had it for a few weeks. My mum bought me the Master System really late in the day, and then my dad decided to one-up her on this one and get the Mega Drive 2, which she wasn't very happy about at the time. But anyway, that was the first one. Second on the list, and I'm going to put these in a list of sort of order in which I've got them. Not necessarily the order in which they came out, but they are roughly in the order when they came out as well. So next on the list is Mario 64. I remember I went over, my dad lived in Germany, I went over to Germany, it was my birthday, it was the summer after the N64 came out, so it must have been 1997, and I got loads of games. Now bearing in mind, these things were super expensive at the time. I must have picked up about 12 games on the system straight away, but Mario 64 especially was one of my most memorable titles, and I remember sitting down with my brother and we just sat there for hours upon hours just smashing that game. We absolutely loved it. Some other highlights on the N64 that I had at the time were Pilot Wings, International Superstar Soccer, absolutely loved that game as well. Scoring from the halfway line. Shout out to anyone who's played that and understands what you can do on that one. Right, so next on the list, coming in at number 3. Again, no particular order. I couldn't rank these, not even if I tried, but they are my top 10 games. Anyway, Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation 1. I remember getting this, again, picked it up in Germany. It was in German, but I played it through. I can speak German. I played through the game, both discs, and I'm pretty sure I played through the first disc in one evening. Just sat down all evening with my stepbrother, played through the game, taking turns at it. I just absolutely loved it. At the time, it was super scary and super jumpy. I remember in the police station, one of the first areas that you go in, and the guy grabs your leg. That made me jump out of my skin as a child. But awesome game, really loved it, and I love the remake. I love what they did with that. That is also a very, very good game. Arguably a better game now, but the nostalgia attached to Resident Evil 2 and the amount that I've gone back to that and replayed it in various guises, awesome game for me. Anyway, next on the list is Goldeneye. Goldeneye, my word. It was a difficult one, this one, because I have been back to Goldeneye recently, and that game hasn't aged very well. But I couldn't leave it from the list just because of the impact that had on me, my friends, and on first-person shooters for consoles in general. I mean, if you think back then, first-person shooters were genuinely much better on PCs back in the day. And that was the first one that sort of blurred the lines and people were thinking, actually, that's a pretty good game. Consoles can hold their own with first-person shooters. It was ahead of its time. It was really, really good. I loved it, and I did everything on that game. Unlocked all the secrets, completed all the levels and all the hardest difficulties, and I used to take on my mates. I was always odd job, a little bit cheaty, but I used to take on 3 versus 1 in the multiplayer, and I still won. I was definitely very good at that game. I am looking forward to playing that again, actually, and the Analog 3D's coming out soon, so perhaps I'll do some footage of me playing that game again. Maybe do some modern gamer guides on it. It's all been done before, but at least I'll have fun playing it. So, another one on the N64. There's quite a few on the N64 for me, because it was a very... I think, for me, I got the N64, I must have been 1996, 14, 15, when I had the N64, and it was where I was really, really into games the most. Had a lot of spare time. I was going around my friends' houses a lot. Really enjoyed couch co-op with them. And, you know, when I went over to Germany and played with my brothers and siblings, it was really, really cool. So I've got a lot of fond memories of the N64. The next one on the list is Diddy Kong Racing. What a game. Now, I liked Mario Kart on the 64, but Diddy Kong took kart racing to another level, which I don't think has even been beaten up until this day. I was really hoping that Mario Kart World would have some sort of something similar, but it was a little bit empty, the world, let's face it. There was a lot of repetitive things to do, but it just didn't have the charm that Diddy Kong Racing had. Having that open world hub, having the characters, and just all the collectibles and stuff like that. What a game. What a game. And some of the best music. I'll put some of that in this video now, but Frosty Village, I'll put that music in because I love that tune. What a catchy tune. One of my favourite gaming tunes of all time, that. So, coming from Diddy Kong Racing, what have I got next on the list? Tomb Raider. Now, I picked up Tomb Raider on the Sega Saturn, which I know was the inferior version at the time, but back in the day, I was a Sega man through and through. Loved my Saturn, absolutely loved it, and Tomb Raider was an awesome game. Now, I remember a friend of mine, John, shout out John if you're watching, he picked up this game in John Lewis, and we played through after school together through the entire game. Absolutely awesome. Super fond memories of it. We didn't know anything of it at the time. Again, it's one of these periods of time where you just saw things in magazines, and I don't think we probably saw it in passing, but didn't think much of it. And I remember distinctly, he went to John Lewis with his mum. He picked up this game, came back, told me about it, and I came over the next day and we were playing that solid. Absolutely loved it, super fond memories of it, and for me that game still holds up today, albeit a little bit sort of tank control-y, but I still really enjoy it, and I played the remakes recently, which was awesome. So, next one for me, this was quite difficult because there was a bunch of them that I cut out, and I wanted to keep this one in, mainly for the fond memories, but Banjo Kazooie, towards the tail end of the N64's life. I know Banjo Tooie came out after that and was arguably a better game, but I didn't have it at the time. I only played it subsequently, so it doesn't have that sort of nostalgia attached to it that Banjo Kazooie does for me. Banjo Kazooie was absolutely awesome. Really, really pivotal, and I would say one of the best 3D platformers of all time. And there's been a few that have come out on the Nintendo Switch which are better. New Donkey Kong, absolutely love that, and Mario Odyssey, awesome games. But Banjo Kazooie just had the humour, the memorable levels, the catchy music, and it was just the right balance of the amount of collectibles. Now, in some of Rare's later titles like Donkey Kong and Banjo Tooie, I think they just overdid it a little bit too much. Now, it's nice to have lots of content, but sometimes there's too much. And Banjo just hit that nail on the head perfectly for me. Coming in at number 8, it might be a bit of a surprise for people because I don't think it will be on many people's top 10 list, but Alan Wake on the 360. My God, I absolutely love that game. I got into everything about it. They were releasing those little videos up until its release, showcasing a little bit of live action footage. They melded that in with the game, the storytelling, the animation, the gameplay. Absolutely awesome. The second Alan Wake, I just didn't get on with. Let me know in the comments down below whether you have a sort of similar thought or not. The first one was awesome. It had great characters. It was really fun. It played better. The second one, I think they wanted to make it a little bit more sort of gritty, gave it tankier controls. And for me, it just didn't pay off and didn't bother finishing it in the end. I think I got about 6 hours in and then just gave up. But Alan Wake, I completed it probably about 6 or 7 times. Absolutely love it. Bought the remake of it, the rehash that they did. And it's still one of these games that I'll just go back to now and again to play. Really, really awesome. Okay, a game again that I didn't think that I would like. And that is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is awesome. I absolutely love it. Now, I've tried to get into all of the Souls games from every single one of them because I love the premise. I like the look of them. And I just think to myself, oh yeah, I'm going to really, really like this. But every single one I've failed on. I've got to a certain point, I've got pissed off with the boss, and I've just stopped. And I've just not played them any further. But Elden Ring, I don't know what is about this game. I just kept going back to it. I kept persevering. And I've completed Elden Ring now 5 times. 5 times! It's mental. Why would I complete that game 5 times? And I'm still going to complete it again. If the Switch 2 version is any good, I will be picking that up and playing it. If the Switch 2 version's any good, and on the cartridge, may I add, because I'm not getting into any of that game key malarkey anymore. Had enough of that. But anyway, Elden Ring. What an awesome game. I absolutely love it. One of my best of all time. Now, this next game, and last on the list, I believe this is number 10, is actually my favourite game of all time. I've left it till last because it's last in the list in terms of when it came out. But my favourite game of all time is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, this game came out. I didn't have any expectations about the Switch when it came out. I don't think a lot of people did, to be honest, because coming from the Wii U, which was an absolute disaster if you're honest with yourself, this console was brilliant. And if you see behind me, I've got about 180 games, maybe more, behind me on the shelf. What an awesome system. And they're all decent games as well. So, Zelda, let's get into that, why I like it. It was just so magical. I remember starting that and going out of that tunnel and the world opening up as he walks on the sort of end of that floating island at the start. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how cool it looked. The art style was amazing. And it was one of these games that did open world correctly. It didn't push you in any direction. It gave you rough agenda of what to do. But what I ended up doing was just walking around like, oh, what's that over there? Oh, what's that over there? Oh, what's that over there? And, you know, a journey that should have taken me about 5 minutes walking took me about 3 hours. And I found loads of different stuff, loads of new armour, loads of new weapons, had loads of fun. And it was just magical, really magical. If that game came out when I was a kid, like, I wanted to have one Zelda on here. And there were 3 that I was thinking of, probably quite obvious. Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and this. They were my 3 main Zeldas growing up. But if this came out when I was a child, and I had that sort of deep nostalgia attached to it, the kind of nostalgia that you only get as a kid, you don't have that feeling as much nowadays, and that's what makes Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild so special, because they've made my list in my adult life. If I was a child and they came out and I played them, absolutely timeless. I think they're timeless now, but as a child, I would have spent hundreds more hours on these games. They're awesome. They're awesome. Anyway, that is it for my top 10. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it gave you a sort of insight into my gaming history, the kind of games that I really, really like. I do play all sorts. I've got tens of thousands of games, really. I play all sorts. But these are the ones that are special to me. It'd be great to hear from you guys. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what your top 10 games are. It'd be good to hear from you. And it'd be good to hear some obscure ones as well that I may or may not have played before. So drop that comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy my content, please drop a like and subscribe on the video. It really helps. Currently looking at my number and I'm at 818. When I get to 1,000, I'm actually going to be a YouTube partner, which is really great. Hopefully we'll make that within a year's timeline. A lot of hard work. I will do a video on that as well, how much graft it has been to get to this point. But yeah, anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Okay, so this is a few moments later. I put a little bit of hot water on it, like I mentioned, and look at this. I haven't done this in years as well. This thing just comes back to life and reopens with a little bit of water. Now, after a couple of days, it will dry up and go into the same ball again. But I just wanted to show you guys. And this thing I've had for 32 years now, or something like that. It's crazy.